Hello, everyone, and welcome today for series number 5 out of 6 for our live webinars. So I'm just going to get started here by just making our presentation a little bit larger. And today's focus is on caregiver roles and the mental health and well-being of those caregivers and managing caregiver burnout. So we're just going to go ahead and just get started. So just to kind of begin, we have an introduction to caregiver roles. So, caregivers may be family members, friends, professional caregivers, teachers, grandparents, kinship carers, um, looking at possibly a child who might be in the care of the society, which for some that would be with CAS or Family Children Services. Their roles often include providing physical, emotional, or some type of medical assistance. So, again, just a quick visual up here of some of those different roles. Oh, and one that I did leave out was possibly neighbors who also assist their neighbors aside to them. So, just moving forward, and caregiver responsibilities. So oftentimes you'll find like these are four of the top ways in which a caregiver cares for the individual that they're caring for. So we have physical care, which includes bathing, dressing, oftentimes mobility assistance, emotional support, so offering companionship and managing mental health needs. We have medical management, so administering their medication, attending their appointments with them, and daily life assistance from meal prep to housekeeping and transportation. So, just to kind of start us off, I do have a small video clip here for what is a caregiver. So, I'm just going to go ahead and play that to get us started.
Weeds controlled.
Visit weedman.com for a free quote.
Today, we're diving into a topic that touches the lives of so many. What is a caregiver? You might be surprised to learn just how significant their role is in our society. So, if you're ready, let's get started. A caregiver, in the simplest terms, is someone who provides essential care and support to individuals in need. But their role is so much more than that. A caregiver is a beacon of hope, a pillar of strength, and a lifeline for those who require assistance in their daily lives. They can be professionals working in healthcare or compassionate family members taking care of their loved ones. Caregivers come in all forms: nurses, doctors, home health aides, parents, and even friends. They assist a wide range of individuals, from the elderly to those with disabilities, and anyone facing a health challenge.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about what caregivers actually do. Their tasks can include bathing, dressing, administering medication, and even providing emotional support. They are the unsung heroes who ensure that people in need receive the care and attention they deserve. What truly sets caregivers apart is their compassion. It's not just a job, it's a calling. They offer a shoulder to lean on, a listening ear, and a smile when it's needed the most. But it's not always easy. Caregivers face their own set of challenges. Physical and emotional exhaustion can take a toll. Did you know that nearly 70% of caregivers report experiencing symptoms of burnout? It's a demanding role that often goes unrecognized. Despite the challenges, caregivers make an immeasurable impact on the lives they touch. They help individuals maintain their independence, dignity, and overall quality of life. So, the next time you encounter a caregiver, whether it's in your family or a healthcare professional, take a moment to appreciate the incredible work they do. And that, my friends, is what a caregiver is: a guardian angel, a beacon of hope, and a symbol of compassion.
Okay. And so that was just a quick introduction for what a caregiver is, and kind of just leading us into, some of those instances of, when things do kind of become overwhelming, it can lead to that caregiver burnout, which we will talk more about throughout the presentation.
Today,
So here we are now with caregiver burnout. So, burnout occurs when caregivers feel physically and emotionally depleted. It can result from constant stress, emotional overload, and neglecting your own self care needs. Symptoms oftentimes do include fatigue, irritability, and a sense of hopelessness. So, here are some common signs here in this visual for symptoms that can happen or signs. So also looking at like uninterested in the things that you used to enjoy, feeling very anxious or depressed, very quick to anger or irritable, you're forgetful or foggy, you're easily flustered or frustrated. So these are all different things that can happen. This visual is not limited to just these experiences. There can be many different ways that burnout can kind of start to become evident for individuals. So, just to start here again with a small video for preventing caregiver burnout.
It's not crafty. It's your craft. It's not DIY. It's do it.
I feel so guilty when I take even 10 minutes for myself.
I lie awake most nights worrying about my sister. I'm so tired during the day. I find myself getting upset by simple things like when my sister calls to tell me how she's doing. I love her so much and I should be glad she's calling, but instead I just feel overwhelmed.
I'm supporting my friend through the ups and downs of his treatment journey, but I feel exhausted and stressed most days too. How am I supposed to help when I feel this way?
I have so much weighing on me. I work, take care of my kids, and help my mom when her mental illness gets bad. No one understands what I'm going through.
These are the voices of people who are providing support to loved ones with mental illness. So often when we provide care for others, we forget to take care of ourselves too. This can lead to burnout, which is caused by physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion. Some signs of burnout are feeling overwhelmed or stressed out and having constant negative self-talk. If you aren't taking care of yourself, it can be difficult to help someone else. Proper self-care is important to ensure you stay healthy and have a good mindset to continue to provide the necessary support to others without burning out from exhaustion and stress. Here are some things you can do to practice good self-care. Move your body. Make sure to move your body every day. Exercise under the direction of your physician is great, but even things like dancing, housework, gardening, or simply going for a walk can help. When you start to feel overwhelmed, sometimes changing your environment for just a little bit can ease some of the stress.
I have just been so stressed out. Last week I had a friend come over and help me out just so I could go for a walk. I felt much calmer when I came home.
Breathe. You don't have to physically leave to take some time away from stress. Sometimes just taking a few minutes to focus on your breathing can help you feel better and reduce your stress. Yoga and meditation are also great activities that use breathing exercises for self-care.
Last week, my dad was having a rough day. When he left his home and got in my car, I was really upset. I started doing some deep breathing exercises. After a few minutes, I felt so much better and I could refocus. Breathing helped to recenter myself before I drove away.
Follow a healthy diet. Eating a balanced diet and staying hydrated with water is just as important as any other self-care practice. Talk to your doctor about the right diet for you.
I didn't have time to cook every day, so I started to prepare meals ahead of time. It was a relief not to worry about what I was going to eat for each meal.
Sleep. With all the demands from daily life on top of being a caregiver, sleep can sometimes be hard to come by. Worrying can keep you up, tossing and turning. It is important to get a good night's sleep so that you feel rested, refreshed, and alert. If you are having difficulty sleeping, try to develop a schedule for your sleep. Make a bedtime routine and try to stick to it. Turn off electronics before getting into bed. Reducing caffeine before sleep can help as well. Finally, make your sleeping environment dark, cool, and comfortable.
I was on my phone too much before I went to bed. I started to put my phone away before I got into bed, and I found that I fell asleep peacefully. I've been feeling more rested lately.
Build a support network. Being a caregiver can be challenging at times, but building a dependable support network can have tremendous value for your own self-care. It's important to talk to other people, ask questions, or lean on others for emotional support.
My husband and I joined a support group in our area for other caregivers, just like us. To others who are going through the same issues we are. It makes us feel like we aren't alone in this. That if other men and women can support their loved ones with mental illness, we can too.
Practicing good self-care can be one of the most important things you do as a caregiver. Remember to take time for yourself, be kind to yourself, speak positively to yourself, and acknowledge that your situation can be tough no matter how much you care for the person you are supporting. It is not a weakness to ask for help and support. When you take care of yourself, you can better take care of those you love.
I think that was a good introduction into kind of really taking that time for that self-care component to be able to, um, navigate when burnout is beginning to occur for you. So next we have some self-care strategies for caregivers. So looking at the different types of self-care, especially when you are in the caregiver role. So looking at physical self-care and emotional self-care. So just again, a small visual here at the top right hand. Making time for a hobby you might enjoy or an activity, getting enough sleep, taking short walks, trying yoga or physical activity, meeting a friend out for lunch, or joining a support group, depending on what kind of caregiver role that you do find yourself in. So again, just looking specifically at caregiver stress, we have another video here. So I'm just going to go ahead and play this one.
My abuela has always been my rock. When we first moved here, she kept our whole family together and never missed a day of work. So naturally, when we learned that she would need someone to take care of her, I knew it was my turn to step up. I wanted to take on the responsibility of her care, but nothing could have prepared me for how difficult this would be. I feel so stuck in this house.
I've always done well dealing with stress. From being drafted in Vietnam to making ends meet as a veteran on a fixed income, I was never bothered by a bit of pressure every now and then. But things changed when my wife Marie got sick. I felt like we had nobody to turn to. It has been so difficult to even do basic tasks while trying to look after her. My doctor warns me that this stress isn't just affecting me mentally, it is also affecting my physical health. I just don't know what to do.
It seemed like everything was finally coming together. My boyfriend Josh had just graduated from college and landed his dream job. A few months later, we got approved for our beautiful new house. Then the car accident happened. Josh was paralyzed from the waist down and lost his job. It has really affected his attitude and outlook on life. Now I spend all my time taking care of him. I hardly ever sleep anymore. I can't even remember the last time I ate. I feel so numb, and the things I used to love don't interest me anymore. It wasn't supposed to be this way.
Stress is a perfectly normal thing we experience as we react to life's changes and the challenges that push us out of our comfort zones. In moderation, stress can help us stay focused. But when we experience high stress levels over time, it can negatively affect our health. This chronic exposure to stress is called distress. As a caregiver, this type of stress can manifest itself in several ways. Some signs of caregiver stress include feeling overwhelmed, sleeping too much or not enough, losing interest in things that once excited you, feeling easily frustrated or annoyed, feeling trapped, and experiencing chronic physical pain. For caregivers, it may be difficult to recognize the symptoms of personal stress while focusing on taking care of others. Be aware of these signs so that you can take care of yourself as well as others. Social isolation, long hours providing care, and a lack of choice in becoming a caregiver can contribute to higher levels of stress. Even if your situation is different, it's normal to experience stress. Sometimes the best thing you can do is take a step back, be realistic about how much you can do, and ask for help.
Aunt Gloria, how are you? We miss you so much. Look, I kind of have my hands full with work and the kids and Abuelita. Would you be able to come stay for a while? I could really use your help, and we miss your cooking.
Of course, Isabella. I'm so glad you came to me.
Many caregivers find support groups can help them cope with the stress.
We found a support group where people just like us can come and talk to each other about how our lives have changed. We even found an adult day service where Marie can socialize with others, while I can have time to take care of our errands. It has done wonders for us.
Get the help you need while also making clear and realistic goals for your own health. There are many ways to get help. Find out what works best for you.
Josh and I have been doing much better now that we have come to accept our situation. We both understand how important it is to develop a healthy routine as we work towards our goals. We found a caregiving service that delivers meals and even helps with housekeeping. This gives time for Josh to volunteer at the local music school and for me to take my hikes again.
Although being a caregiver can be challenging at times, you are not on your own. With the help of friends, family, and support groups, caregivers can truly help improve the quality of life not only for the ones they care for, but also for themselves and their loved ones.
Okay. So moving through to the next slide here. So another important component to managing caregiver burnout and making sure that you're accounting for your mental health needs as a caregiver are setting boundaries. So learning to say no when necessary to protect your time and your energy, asking for help from family and friends or professionals when needed, and recognizing when caregiving is taking a toll on your health and well-being. So again, we have another video here just on how to set those boundaries as a caregiver. So I'm just going to go ahead and get us started.
Wix, one platform, any website. Unlimited creation.
I've been taking care of my mother, who lives with me, for about 4 years now. Lately, I've been feeling distant. I know I've been very irritable towards her too. Why can't I seem to feel compassion for my mother anymore?
Can you relate to Alicia? If so, you may be experiencing symptoms of compassion fatigue or burnout. First, you need to know that you are not alone. Burnout is a very common problem among caregivers. Second, although burnout can develop quickly, it can also be reversed. Let's talk more about burnout and what causes it. Most often, at the root of burnout are these two main factors: the caregiver's level of personal boundaries and the sense of guilt they may feel when saying no. So how can you set up healthy boundaries as a caregiver and avoid feeling bad about it? Let's look at 5 steps for building guilt-free boundaries in your caregiving relationship. The boundaries you create will differ by situation, but these steps can serve as a foundation for any kind of boundaries you decide to set up. 5 steps to building healthy boundaries. 1. Recognize how much you can help while retaining good mental and physical health. Overcommitting yourself to the point of burnout is not helpful to you or your loved one. Sometimes, even assisting with small tasks will meet your loved one's need without overwhelming you. 2. Spread the responsibility. Divide and manage your assigned tasks. For example, you might only be responsible for scheduling appointments and providing transportation to therapy, and others in the support network may be responsible for refilling medications. 3. When you're feeling guilty, remember that all your contributions as a caregiver are meaningful. Sticking to your established boundaries can reduce guilty feelings over time. 4. Balance caregiving with your other commitments. Engage in healthy activities. Limit your work to scheduled hours. Interact with friends and other family, and allow yourself time away from caregiving responsibilities. 5. Remember that you cannot be everything another person needs, and attempting this may make you feel less than. Set yourself up for success by offering specific care that is reasonable for you to give. With practice, you may be able to reduce the pressures that can cause burnout. Not all caregivers have friends or family who can share your caregiving responsibilities. If this is the case, reach out to the treatment team of the person you care for to find out about additional services and support for caregivers. If you are a part of a faith-based community, that may also be an option for providing support for yourself as a caregiver. Now that you have learned some steps for creating boundaries and finding support for your caregiving, let's see how Alicia used the same steps to create a healthy change in her life.
I'm not ashamed to admit I started to feel burdened by my caregiver responsibilities. My husband encouraged me to join a support group, and things slowly started to change. In group, someone talked about how it was okay to be clear about the things you could and could not do as a caregiver. That was the first time I considered having rules or boundaries about what I could do as a caregiver. Since I started to create clear boundaries, my relationship with my mom has improved.
Just like with Alicia, setting boundaries can help you to avoid burnout, which will enable you to provide better care. Remember, while changing your mindset and practice may be challenging at first, stick with it and don't give up. Regaining your sense of purpose and energy will be worth the effort.
Okay. So that was just kind of on how to establish those boundaries and to, allow your space to go through the emotions, but to overall not kind of take on that guilt in adding that to maybe some of the struggles that you might be having as a caregiver. So just moving forward, when to seek support and resources. So persistent feelings of burnout, anxiety, or depression, or another term that we were introduced to, compassion fatigue, difficulty managing your caregiving tasks, or experiencing emotional strain. When emotional issues begin to interfere with your daily functioning, your quality of life, as well as the quality of life and the daily functioning of the person that you may be caring for. Support groups, so joining in person or online, or looking at therapy or counseling, whether that be an individual or group, depending on what that looks like, and looking into possibly respite care services, caregiver hotlines, and online support communities. Okay. And then just kind of speaking more to the experience of overcoming guilt as a caregiver. Caregivers often do feel guilty about taking time for themselves and, recognizing that self-care is not selfish. It is essential to be able to continue to care for the individuals that you are caring for. So we're just gonna start this one here. So how to let kind of go of that caregiver guilt.
As a caregiver, feeling guilty is very common. You're not alone. You may feel guilty because you took some time for yourself recently, or feel that you're not being a good enough caregiver. On some days, you just wish the caregiving would end. But you have a choice. You can choose to let this guilt fester, or you can choose to just let it go. We understand it's easier said than done, but hear us out. We have an easy 4-step exercise to help free you from your guilt. Let's try this. First, focus on what you're feeling guilty about. Can you let this feeling go? It may be a complicated mix of feelings, but in the end, we ask that you try and go with your gut. Yes or no? Would you let it go? There's no right or wrong answer. It's more important just to be honest. So, even if you answered no, the honesty will help you feel better. Finally, when will you let this feeling go? Sometimes you get overwhelmed and forget that you're holding on to these feelings. Setting a time creates distance between you and the guilt. You are not at the mercy of the feeling. You are in control. You have the choice of whether you want to let it go or not. At this point, you just need to make the choice. If this exercise doesn't work for you, it's okay. You can explore other options, like speaking with a therapist. But know that the more you practice letting go of guilt, the easier it gets. It only takes a minute or two. Just give it a try. Be sure to check out our channel for more caregiver support and resources.
Okay, and that brings us to our conclusion. So, caregiving overall is a rewarding but emotionally taxing role. Regular self care practices can prevent burnout and promote well being. Seek support when needed, and remember to take care of yourself to be able to care for those that you're caring for. Okay. And then if you do have any questions in regards to this presentation, you can always email us. The information will be on the next slide here. And we can help connect you with a therapist to be able to answer any of those questions, or if it is something that you might be struggling with and needing additional support. So again, this was number 5 in our 6-part series. We are going to be having our last webinar on moving through the grief experience on March 5th at 5. Again, here is the email address if you are needing to contact, info@therelationshipcenter.ca. And then if you are watching this back, please take a moment just to pause the screen. If you do need any of the contact information here, we have our phone number. You can text, fax, again, the email address, the address where we are located. We do serve individuals, couples, families, for all different types of therapy that you might need. And our services are available both by phone, in person, and via a virtual platform. And again, thank you for joining us. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. There we are. And again, thank you for joining. And I am going to stop the recording now.